Good evening and welcome to Mindful Conversations. I am Dr. Lori Monaco with Align Yourself Inc. And I am happy to be here on your Thursday night. So we are going to start right off the bat because the weird thing is that I feel like I am starting my day all over again because I got to start my day with this beautiful woman at 8 o'clock. And now I'm ending my day at 8 o'clock this morning. Our outfits have changed, our backgrounds have not, and I even have my cup of coffee from the morning show. New pot of coffee, by the way, but same cup. And so I'm going to introduce my guest this evening, my friend, my co-host to Viva Cafe con Leche, a beautiful soul, a beautiful spirit, somebody that I admire very much, who is very inspiring to me. She is my life coach, and she is a very, very strong woman. And her name, Margarita Chapman Rodriguez. I gotta get my cards going. And I have her bio. I'm going to read. It's lengthy, but it is so worth the read because she wrote it herself, and she is ridiculously poetic. Hello, she's a writer and she's a poet, and I just want to put my live feed on in a moment on Facebook so that I can watch with everybody and watch the comments. So, okay, so who is Margarita? She is a spiritual and creative healing life coach, a woman who pours out emotions from the tip of her pen as well as the slant of her paintbrush. She is magically orgasmic. I am a spirit of excitement, she says, a love of passions. I am a lover of truths, sorry, Freudian slip.
But that's true.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I'm a lover of words. I am Mother Nature's favorite child. I am my own superhero, the seeker of knowledge. I am a caregiver for the past decade of two totally different individuals. I am a molestation and rape survivor. I am the gladiator guru. Margarita is a self-taught artist. She has been writing poetry and short stories from the age of 13. She has been creating self-healing art since 2013. The flow of her pen began during the years of molestation from an individual who lived in the same household and carried over for life. The birthing of her brushstrokes began by accident. It began as a release of painful emotions. It occurred in the midst of a battle with ALS and the caretaking of her husband. The taking back my power showed up many, many years after the rape. It began as an empowerment for self and the women of the world. It began with a mission statement and an incredible art series, The Power of Pussy. Margarita has explored many different mediums and materials in her learning process and continues to explore as she typically falls outside of any particular confines, labels, or styles. That's why I love her so much. The artist currently resides in Tampa, Florida, a native of Bridgeport, Connecticut, and a vibrant, passionate lover of words and visuals. Wait, there's more. Dubbed by a world traveler and close friend as the Puerto Rican female version of Picasso, due to the artist's depiction of the courage and strength of the empowered women of the world. She brings life to naked and curvy women who get up and get things done regardless of their burdens. Her art represents the many emotions we as women bury deep within, storing the energy to later serve as ammunition in moving forward to inspire, motivate, raise, and lead all souls towards their divine purpose. Margarita transfers onto her mediums the emotions of womanhood, motherhood, of spirit, love, sorrow, grief, joy, and laughter. She goes on to say, I am a storyteller and I speak on feelings of the soul that many may only dare think of. I speak of the confusions of menopause and death. I speak of lost love and discoveries of self-love. I tell stories of the universe, and with my pen and paintbrush, join me on this visual journey. Ladies and gentlemen, my beautiful friend and co-host, Margarita Chapman Rodriguez. I'm so glad you're here tonight.
Thank you. Namaste, everybody. And thank you for all coming.
And listen, I want to shout out to, so Michelle is back on. Michelle, you are such a love. I've got to tell you. So Michelle was on this morning show and she's back on and that's what she says, twice in one day.
Thank you, Michelle.
You're the ones who are honored that you are here twice in one day and hopefully
Yes.
by your side. Her beautiful dog that she trained, and he's a service dog. He's a therapy dog, and he visits people, and he's just a ambassador of love and light. So I want to say hello to my sister. Hello, Lee. And Janet is watching as well. So
Yes.
welcome. And so how are you? I mean, I haven't seen you in
the last 12 hours.
I know, exactly, right? I feel like we never left. Did we do anything at all in the span that we haven't seen each other?
So much. I can't believe how much was done in between, but I want to give shout outs to those souls that signed on. My sister Janet, Nancy Green, hello. Lauren Motes, my cousin Vanessa. Vanessa, welcome. My daughter-in-law, Natalie Nicole, and Nada, thank you.
All right, good. So this is a special episode because we get to talk about you tonight. It's not about us talking about conversations with our show, our great show, by the way, Viva Cafe con Leche.
No.
Mornings, 8 a.m. on my Facebook channel. But it's such a pleasure to work with you like that. I can't describe we have so much fun doing it. We have fun planning, but it is our show, and it's conversations between the both of us and our guests on Thursday. But tonight is about you, because the Mindful Conversations show is about the viewers getting to know these incredible people that I know, and even people beyond that I'm going to get to know in the near future. But these are people that I feel have such a great story to share. They do practice mindfulness practice in some elements, some more than others, but it's about their story, and it's about sharing their, what their purpose here in this world is, and I adore you. Like, I really can't express it enough that I'm honored to be friends with you. And I every day I feel closer to you. Plus you're my life coach. So for me, it was very fitting to ask you to come on here because you've gone through so much. We all have a story. We all have gone through things. Some minute, some so harsh that it's almost hard to listen to some of the stories. And you're in that category. You are at a level of trauma. Like, you are at a level where some people would, give up. So we're going to get into that conversation. And you're going to share, as much or as little of your story as you want to. But before we do, so you are a mother. So you're all the things that I said. You're an author, you're a speaker, you are a coach, you are just you're an artist. Did I say that already? You've made jewelry in the past. You're going to start a coffee shop. I mean, you're just all these incredible things. You're an entrepreneur. You are a mother. You are a grandmother, a caregiver to your own mother. What do you do to ground yourself and help you create balance in your life?
Well, to start off, first thing in the morning, before my feet touches the floor, I start by giving gratitude. I give gratitude for the new day, for the new opportunities that's coming, for new reasons for me to keep pushing forward, and just the learning. I love to learn. So you get to learn new things. I get to learn a little bit more about myself every day, because as I'll mention later on, we never get to where we think we've gotten. Okay, we're always a work in progress. So no matter if we reach a certain level, like, yes, I made it, you didn't make it, because every day there's going to be those stumbling blocks that are going to drop you on your ass, and that happens. It happens to the best of us. And the sages that come out of those moments are the ones that realize, no, every day it's a hustle. Every day I got to get up and do it and do it and do it. And there's no destination in life. It's just getting up and trying to be better today than you were yesterday. And and catching yourself today and the shit you did yesterday that you should have already known. But you know what? Life happens. So that's what I start off with. And I ask for clarity and direction first thing in the morning for my day, because I am such a passionate person that my mind is always going. It's always going. And because of my passion, people think that's such a good thing all the time. It's not, because I can become passionate over something where I can go into full throttle rage. My passion is, it's either I'm happy, I'll give you the shirt off my back, or I'm gonna rip your throat out. So I have to ask for clarity and direction, to be like that horse, you know, with, I forget what they're called.
With the blinders on, yeah.
Yeah, and so that I can focus on what my purpose is for that day. Because every day your purpose should change, because it's just a growth spurt, right? So that's what I do. I tend to my mom, and then I handle other things me in between. And again, clarity and knowing that I am caring for an elderly with some psychosis and dementia. So I need patience for that, because if once I get involved in either making a painting, or I'm writing, or I'm having a conference call, then it's time to get her up, change her diaper, feed her. So then I got to stop what I'm doing. So it takes a lot of, you know, I need that perseverance and the tenacity and the courage to understand it all every single day that I'm doing this job. So it's never like hard. So I sit with myself and I whisper words of strength. You know, I tell myself, it's okay. Okay, you're over it. You let the smoke burn out. Okay, let's get back to it. So it's just strength. You got this. Get up, or smile from within, so that I can just purge that anger, or that whatever got me upset, right? And then I rise and I do what I have to do, and I rise above it, and I go back to writing or painting or cleaning or painting in my house, or making a paint, whatever it is that I'm doing, or talking with you and calling my sister and harassing her. You know, it's all in a day's work, because you know, I like to, I'll call my sister. She don't answer. I'm texting her like, what the hell are you doing? Because I'm calling, you should answer. She's like, I was doing clothes, all right? So, you know, and it's just those moments when you want to reach out and you don't want to complain, and you're not saying what's bothering you. You're just saying, hey, what are you doing? You know, so that's what I ask for. I give gratitude for another day to do what it is I have to do in my active service. And I ask for clarity and direction to help me, you know, navigate through the murkiness of my days, because it happens throughout. And on the social days, I sing out loud and I dance, and my mother laughs. And then when she's sleeping, sometimes I'll stop what I'm doing and I dance with no music, and I'm just feeling the, you know, the rhythmic sounds of my ancestors, you know, and to the beat of whatever my ancestors playing, and in my mind I'm listening to it, and I'm dancing, and then I feel good afterwards. That's what I do. That's my balance.
So you do every single day have a piece of self-care, like you do something for yourself during your day.
Yes, I do. Sometimes it's just finding peace in brewing my 20-minute cup of coffee. And when I say 20 minutes, it's from starting to then rinsing everything off and putting it in its proper place before I actually sit down and enjoy the coffee. But that's meditative for me, to know that when I'm done with my coffee, I don't have to clean up anything. So I do it as I go. Sometimes I just sit here in my sanctuary and listen to the birds. I do take time out, or I go and I reminisce and I listen to sappy, sad love songs. And then I'm like, fuck this. And I get up and start doing something.
What's your favorite sappy love song?
Oh my God. And they're all in Spanish. All my Spanish, you know. My most recent one is called Besitos Tristes, Sad Kisses, from Cali and Dandy. So I listen to that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good. So you've had a lot of trauma in your life, so we're going to get into that. And I do want to focus on something coming up, so I don't want to forget about this. So we're going to talk about the traumas that you've gone through, but I also want to keep something into perspective as all of you, because I've heard Margie's story before, and I do want to say a shout out. If you need to shout out to anybody, hi Darcel. I'm so glad you're here, Darcel. So I've heard Margie's story before, and it's pretty, it's gut wrenching. And yet, I think what I feel I'm so enamored by, I think what I have so much respect for Margie is the fact that we were just talking about this right before we came on, that what she's gone through, she still turned out to be this amazing mom. Like, she raised two great kids, and she's a grandmother, and she's got, you know, her grandkids are great. And it's like, what does that like translate to? You know, it's like how, and I think that's where we want to go, or at least that's where I want to go with this, is that, you know, so many people use their past as the piece that prevents them from living their present day. And, you know, they'll say this happened to me, or they'll use it as the excuse why their behavior is bad now because of what they've gone through. And in the end, it is always your choice. It's always what you decided to do, like how you decided to live your life.
Absolutely.
People have gone through all kinds of things, but yet there's some people that decided to rise up, and then there's people that decided to just lay down and let whatever happen. So I want to definitely talk about with you after you talk about your trauma. How did that come out? Like, how did you end up becoming, considering your upbringing, how you became such a great, you know, like mom and young, you know, you were, you know, you always hear this thing, oh, young mothers, they don't know how to mother, blah, blah, blah. And you were young, and you had nothing to like, you know, nothing to like follow suit to say, this is the way you parent. So I definitely want to talk about that. So go ahead and elaborate and tell the viewers about your story, and however deep or wherever way you want to go.
You know, the traumas, the travesties, the acts of violence, and the abandonment of the heart. I think I can speak for many on that one, but you know, when I tell this story, because I don't own it, it's not.
How about that?
It is
Like,
no longer sewn into the tapestry of my soul anymore.
Right. It's like, it's just,
no, I ripped it out from its core.
Beautiful.
And I'll tell you when that happened, because I know exactly when that happened.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So it's okay. So I'm biracial, bicultural, which makes me bipolar at times. From the age of 6, and I believe it's just a gift. I believe in the supernatural. I'm very spiritual. I believe, you know, that God hands us all talents and gifts, and sometimes we dismiss them, and other times, you know, that's all there is for us to pull from. So when I was around 6, my mom was with her new man, and he hit me. So I told my dad, because you're not my dad, you can't hit me, right? I was always a rebel. So I told my dad, and my dad beat him up very badly. And so my dad went to jail for like 90 days, I believe. Within those 90 days, he started molesting me. And he said that if I said anything, of course, you know, the threats they tell kids that they'll kill you or your mom or whatever. So when my dad came out of jail, I didn't tell my dad. Not because I was afraid of him, but because I knew then, call it insight, that if I would have told my dad that he was doing that, my dad would have killed him, and he would have went to jail forever. And I could not fathom the thought at that age of losing my dad. So I sacrificed myself for my dad's freedom, because I know what my dad was capable of doing. So my dad never knew. He died not knowing, you know, just because he would have not let it go. So that happened. And then as I got older, he would say that my mother wasn't going to believe me anyway. And I knew that because my mom, from however her childhood was, she was incapable of being the mom that protects their children. She needed to have somebody love her. And because she was lost in that need to be loved, she couldn't give love. So, and I discovered that at the age of 32 when I forgave her in my heart. So I'm not here to blame my mom. My mom did the best she could with what she had, with her childhood and her displacement in love, having, you know, her kids and just she needed to be, I guess. So was she aware? That's why she took sleeping pills at night and she didn't want to face the fact that was happening. I can't say. I can judge, but I'm not. I can't say. Who knows? So at the age of 14, that was it. I couldn't take it, and I fist fought him, and I fist fought him several times. And I said, at this point, I will tell my dad, and he will kill you, and I will spit on you.
So he molested you from the age of 6 to 14.
Yeah. So, and then, you know, we had the big fist fight and everything. And then my mom couldn't understand. And so I used to babysit these two little girls around the corner from me, Jessica and Jenny. And so I was very close with the mom. And I told her, so my mom noticed that. So one day I was 15 and she's like, why do you hate him so much? I said, because I do. I hate him and I want to kill him. And she's like, Jenny told me everything, you know, it was a little trap. So I believed it. And so I told her, I said, it's true. This is what he was doing. And she like stood there. I guess, I don't know what she was feeling. But her first reaction was, it's your fault, bitch, for wearing tight jeans. And I said, really? At 6 years old? So I became a young mom. I didn't get pregnant, but when she found out I was having sex, she made me get married at 16 to get me out of the house. So I felt abandoned, you know. All our lives, we didn't feel the warmth of a hug, you know, or any kind of encouragement. But at that point, you know, she chose. And I didn't want to leave my little sister there because my biggest fear was that he was going to do that to her. So at 16, I got married and my daughter was born like a year and a half later. And then that was one tragedy. And I started writing at 13 because I would just be sitting there writing and trying to pour out. And a lot of those poems are in the book, are in Soul Searching for Peace. The first chapter, actually, yeah, the very first chapter. And the second one talks about my parents. So then at 18, I'm a single mom. I'm separated and a single mom. So then at 18, he left my mom because he got another woman pregnant. Go figure. So now we're all back together in the same house, me, mom, and my daughter and my sister and all that. And then at 19, we were all living together. And again, mommy finds another man and leaves with him. So we get evicted. So my sister at 15 was forced to go live with her boyfriend's family. I slept in my car for 2 weeks in December with my 2-year-old daughter until a friend of mine said, well, my cousin and his wife has a condo they don't use. It was on Fairfield Avenue by PT, but it was across the street from the post office. I don't know if you can get that visual. It's only for like when family came from Colombia. And so my cousin stood there with me all the time. One night, December 18, it was snowing and she got sick. So I walked with the stroller because by this time my car died. So I'm walking from PT to this apartment, and he said I had the only key. So that night he broke in. I don't know how. I'm assuming. And he raped me as my 2-year-old slept beside me. So you have two options: either you scream, and she wakes up and witnesses that. And you scream, and she wakes up, and he does something to her. So I did fight him, you know. And for years, I blamed my mom for that because, again, she chooses a man over us, which led us to be all straggled everywhere. And you know, so I fell asleep sitting up. And the very next morning, I grabbed most of what I could have. I took a shower. I dressed my 2-year-old. I took a taxi. I dropped her off at daycare, and I went to work. And that was it. Because I felt that it was my fault for trusting a stranger to stay in his house and believing that I had the only key. It was years later that I realized, no, it's nothing that, could happen, that I could have done. And that's it. I didn't speak about it. I didn't say nothing until 13 years later when I wrote about it, which is also in the book, which is called I Was Raped. It's called Rape, the poem. So I blame my mom. I don't think I spoke to her. I never told her, because a week before that, I was robbed at gunpoint. And I had been saving. I was working full-time at the phone company and part-time nights at the YMCA. And so I had just cashed 3 checks, so I was supposed to go leave a deposit and an apartment the next day. So the guy took my whole purse with checks uncashed and my cash. And I chased him down for it but I never found it. And I called her and told her that, and she's like, well, at least you're okay. You can't come here.
Oh.
So then a week later, I was raped. I never even told her. I didn't tell her because why? Why? Was she going to blame me again? So that was, those were like the two major traumas, aside from always feeling unwanted. Like my sisters and I have this running joke that growing up, we thought our father was Elvis Presley because she had Elvis all over the house, and that our name was Bitch. And we laugh about it and we joke about it, but we're still wounded over it. Some of us more than others. We're still wounded. So how did you just rise above it? Especially, I didn't put myself out there. I didn't ask for this. So I've always believed I shouldn't own it. It was something that happened. It knocked me on my ass, but it didn't break me. It didn't break me. So then the lack of warmth and protection from a mother, a father, they say a father can be anybody, which I don't believe either, but your mother, you should always be able to trust and feel protected and feel like love from your mother. And none of that happened. And my father, who used to beat the shit out of my mom and was an alcoholic, as well as my mother, both were when we were younger, he never hit us, and he loved us, and he planted seeds of wisdom. He always told us how we should do things through story, never through judgment, never put us down, always welcomed us. And then so the fourth, because I have 5 traumas that really like affected me in life. I'm going to be 52, and I could only bring them down to 5. There was many things in between, but you know what? They weren't as devastating. But, the 4th one was the death of my dad in 2007. Like, I'm not over it. Like, people say as time gets, no, that hasn't. I still wish I can pick up the phone and call him. I still want his advice on things. I still want to say bendición, papi, and I still want to hear him say Dios te bendiga, mama. I still want that. And on the 28th, it made 13 years that he's been gone. And the last one is the death of my husband in 2017. And I have to say that when Eric was first diagnosed with ALS, my first thing is, and then they said, you have 2 to 5 years to live, like, because they're very boom to it, is that all I can think of was, he's going to die in 5 years. How am I going to mourn him when I can't even mourn my father? Like, that was the first thought. Like I won't be able to mourn him because I don't know how to mourn my dad. So with all of that, let me tell you, since the age of 6 to the age of 42, I did not know what the sound of my cry was. Because from the first night he started molesting me, I would not cry. I would not become weak and pathetic. And that's how a 6-year-old viewed her mom. And it wasn't until 2 years. 2 years. Yeah, no, I wasn't 42. I was going on 41. Yeah. I was in the kitchen making coffee. My husband and I just started living together. And I put the pot down and I went to turn around and say something to him. And I don't know what happened, but I dropped to my knees and I scared myself when I heard that roar come out of me. He didn't know what to do. And I told him, I just put my hand up, like, leave me alone, because I didn't know what to do. And I cried and I cried. And then you know, you don't realize it until he said that at the end. I said, for you, puppy. So yeah, so, and I'm still not over that. To me, that is so traumatic, because in me, not crying from his death for so long caused me a lot of physical ailments due to stress. And then Eric, you know, we got married in November 2010. And 2 weeks before our first wedding anniversary, he gets diagnosed with ALS. And a month later, he's already paralyzed because he had been misdiagnosed for 2.5 years with fibromyalgia. So our whole marriage was me being his nurse. So our whole marriage, I was loyal, faithful, and celibate. And like I said, the doorknobs were looking pretty good to me, because I was like, damn. And it was like 5.5 years I had no sex. And I'm like magically orgasmic, you know? So that was like a hard pill to swallow. So in that trauma, what got me through it? Humor, sarcasm, fighting. I used to fight all the time. Standing my ground. If anything, if people were to ask me, if you can go back and change that, would you? Absolutely not. Because that little girl right there, the first three, the molestation, the rape, and the lack of warmth and protection from my mother, is what molded me to be who I am today. And that's why my book is dedicated to the little girl who never cried.
Oh my God.
So yeah, that's those were my traumas. I'm never ashamed to speak on them. They are my battle scars. I believe that for me to be the spiritual life coach and the speaker of truths to women, I could not do that unless I went through that. So that was my path leading me to my purpose. And you know what? Like I've always said, without pain, you don't remember that you're alive. Pain reminds you that you are alive. And if you are alive, what do? You move forward, only going forward.
That's cool.
So if I'm, you know, I would never change my life. I would never change knowing what pain is, so that I could better understand my pain and my healing.
And you know, and you brought up, like, so the next question you started to go into it was, how has your past created your present? So I think it's beautiful what you said. It's like you wouldn't change it, and it's made you who you are today to be able to do what you do. But still, I mean, it takes tremendous strength. Do you realize, like, I mean, that's all you know. So it's funny sometimes when that's all a person knows, they don't view it as something super, you know, something like a superpower, supernatural, because that's all you know. But do you ever sometimes like look through the eyes of an observer, like very objectively at your life, and say, I am something incredible. I am something strong, because there's people that would not have been able to survive that. Their lives would have stopped. They would have been a completely different person. They would have been addicted to drugs, alcohol, if they had gone through what I had gone through, because you left other stuff out. And if I remember correctly too, you also were in a physically abusive relationship.
No, I was a spectator. in domestic violence when my father used to beat the shit out of my
No,
mom.
maybe I'm remembering wrong. I thought when you were a little older and you were dating somebody, there was somebody that was in your life.
Hell no.
Oh, okay.
Whoever thinks they're gonna hit me, that man has not been born. No. We just, we witnessed, and my mother was a very jealous woman, of course, insecurities and being needy. My father was a rolling stone. I have 8 brothers from 8 different women, and I loved them all. My mom shot my dad in the balls in front of us because she caught a woman on his lap. My dad split her forehead open in front of us when we were little. So we, trauma, whether we were spectators or we were, the victim. How do I see myself as something big because I got over it? No. I feel blessed. I'm a heathen. I smoke. I have tattoos. I curse like a salty sailor. That's just me, But Jesus loves me, and I know that because of the miracles that I've witnessed in my life. From my granddaughter completely being cured of leukemia 2 months after being diagnosed with the worst kind, going through the chemo and just doing it with a smile. So I've witnessed miracles. No, but my daughter, my kids call me the guru because I'm always spitting knowledge, my son says. The gladiator, I'm a gladiator. What's a gladiator? Gladiator was somebody who was like enslaved, right? And then forced to fight for survival in a spectacular arena with all these, people just watching and just hoping for their demise. And so that's me. I'm that gladiator guru. That's why I gave myself that name. I am the gladiator guru because I am that badass bitch. And I know that. I don't compare myself to anybody else. I'm not better than anybody else, but I am the gladiator guru who survived my life because that's all I can go on. I survived my traumas. I survived the bullshit, and I'm here today. So yeah, it's insight. I think there's always, the universe always guides you. I believe God has always been by my side, and he does. And that's why I constantly pray for clarity and direction, because I know he gives it to me. He's there for me. So what you were saying, what was the next question?
Well, I was talking about, so leading into, because you answered it, but with that though, I wanted to go back to it. So what made you, like, what was the direction? How did you know to go in the direction of being the mom that you were to your children, being a young mom, having no guidance from your own parents, a little bit from your dad with that insight that he had.
But he was more absent. Yeah, I get it. I learned to stretch myself because they didn't. Because in my what is it? As I seek knowledge, I observe. And so I've always had that gift from a young age. And I watched them, and I didn't see them really push past where they were. Like, they were complacent. They were okay with what they had. And I'm talking about building 45 and Father Panic Village on the 3rd floor, where we had one recliner in the middle of the living room. Like, oh my God, like, where did that decoration skill come from? And a little side table. And I remember Janet and I sitting there eating oatmeal, and Connie would be like on the side table, or she would be in the recliner. And so we took turns, or we all just fought and sat together. And they didn't ever take an extra step. They didn't do that stretch. Like, I gotta do more. They were okay with whatever was given to them and whatever they had. And so no, I didn't want that. Because I know what it felt like not to get hugged, not to be told, you're doing a great job, not to be pushed to continue school. I lived it. So, and you have to be awake in your life. And that's one thing I'll tell everybody, be fully present in your now, because that's all you have. And so I learned to stretch myself the way they didn't. And because I knew I wanted more for me, And I knew that if I had kids, because I never did. So when they argue over who I love more, I remind them how they were both accidents and I hate them both the same, right? So that's the relationship I have with my babies. And so I've always wanted love. I am in love with love. So no matter how many times my heart gets broken, I am going to love because I have it to give. So I wanted my kids to grow up knowing that they were loved and that they can be anything they wanted to be, and that I will walk beside them when they're right, but I would always be there to catch them when they were wrong and they fell on their ass, and I will help them get back up. But so I needed them to be in a spiritual place where I can be and do anything I want. What they chose is up to them, was up to them. I always tell them every day, choose wisely, make wise choices. To this day, I'll still text them and tell them that. And they think because they're 34 and 30 that they don't have to listen to me, and they forget who they are. They're my babies. So whatever I did with my kids, I did it. I didn't have no great mom. No, there's no Mother of the Year award ever coming to me. But we built a relationship with trust, with love, and a knowing that they can come to me with anything, whether it's anything you can possibly think of, they can come to me and we can talk about it.
Yeah, I think that's huge because I've witnessed that. I've not, I mean, with your daughter and with your granddaughter as well. It's the communication that you have with them and the connection and the respect, like is huge. It's beautiful. Like it's not, it's mother, it's parent child, but at the same time, you've managed to balance nicely the friendship as well as the parent, because you hear that said, like if you're reading something, oh, you're never supposed to be friends with your kids, and then another one will say, oh, you're supposed to be friends with your kids, and it's like, which is right? And it's like, whatever it is, it's like, I think what I love so much about you is that you sort of just said, screw it. I didn't get like the good, I didn't have the book in front of me. Like the book wasn't passed on from my parents on how to do things. And I can't seem to find the books. So I'm going to make my own book. I'm going to carve my own way. I'm going to decide internally what's important to me and what I want. And I'm going to forge forward. And you made some amazing choices in your life.
Thank you.
Very powerful choices, which I don't even know if you knew they were powerful at that time, but they turned out to be.
No, I became friends with my kids when they were older, but when they were little, they hated me because for every day for 1 hour we had to only speak Spanish, and they like despised me. My daughter sucked her teeth at me once because I gave her a busted lip, so she knew she could never go to me again. So I was strict as far as discipline, and to this day they know I'll still beat them down if they disrespect, because that's just the code. That's just how it should be. But we're very good friends, because even with my grandkids, I tell them, this is how I am. I'm raw and uncut. I love you, and we can joke around, but when you're out of pocket, I'm right there to put you right back in place. So they know that. They know, like they'll try and cross the, sometimes they forget, or they think I forgot, so they'll try to cross the line and then they sprawl down. But because I put it out there in the beginning, and when my kids were little, I told my daughter, you can hate me, you can tell your friends you hate me, you can write it in the journal that you hate me, but let them come out your mouth at me, I'm gonna bust your mouth open, because that's disrespectful. Because, and all this, don't come in my room, I need privacy. Not in my house. There's no privacy. I don't know where people get that. Knock on my door before you come in. You kidding me? So that's how they were raised. No, there's no privacy. You don't pay bills here. I'm the mama. So, and so that started off from a young age. And so, and And what happens is one of my biggest, after everything that happened to me, the biggest tragedy of my life was when my daughter was molested by the babysitter's son. And I didn't see the signs. And I blamed myself for years. And how did I handle that? He threatened, the three went to the same babysitter, Janice's daughter and my two kids. So he threatened all of them. So finally it came out and I went there to kick their door in, because those who knew Margie back in the day knew that's what I did. So then, no, they didn't open. So we called the cops, we did a report. In the report I got back, when they knocked on the door, the kids said, oh, is this about Tiffany? But all in all, things happen. One of my cousins was always there. I ran into him, beat his ass every time he saw him. I didn't want him to get in trouble. So until the trial, because we would run into them and Tiffany would get like real nervous, I left my job at the phone company after 10 years and I came to Florida to stay with my mom while the trial went into action. Things happened where she threw me and the kids out in Florida because of her other man that she had. It was just crazy. It's just like a vicious cycle, right? And here I am now wiping her ass with love, with love. So how is my daughter so strong? I mean, if anybody knows Tiffany, they know she is like one of the strongest women. I admire her strength, you know? We went to trial. Tiffany testified on her 11th birthday. The first thing the judge said when Tiffany walked in was, happy birthday, Tiffany. So Tiffany testified heart-wrenching facts that no mother wants to hear her 11-year-old talk about, that what was happening to her since the age of 7. The detective who would just pop up randomly to interview her spoke how Tiffany never changed a word. And he never let us know when he was coming. She never changed a word in her story, which means she was telling the truth. The 6 white man jury found him not guilty because they didn't want to ruin his life because he just graduated high school and he had potential. Yeah. So what did I do after that? I used to do a lot of public speaking. I did several for the Women of Color Caucus in Farmington and Hartford and all of that. And I brought Tiffany with me all the time. And I would stand up there and I would speak at safe houses, at domestic violence shelters, at rape crisis centers. I was that public speaker all over the place. And Tiffany came. And I would say, I would like someone to stand so that they can share their story. And Tiffany would stand in the middle from the audience and everybody's like, oh my God, this little girl, because Tiffany's 34 now, she still looks like a 12-year-old. And she would tell her story and she would say it with so much confidence, like if she was reading from a book, because I raised her during that episode, that dark season of our life, to be strong, to stand firm in her truth, and to know she did nothing wrong. And that this is something that happened to her, but it wasn't nothing that is about her. And so to this day, she could still talk about it the way I talk about mine. And so I did my job with that, you know. So that's one thing. So I know that the third question was about my past person to my present person, right? I don't want to go over time. So, oh my God, without her, there would be no me. There really wouldn't, you know? She suffered and tended to the wounds that today have reminded me who the hell I am. Because right now, it's my favorite age. I am like so in love with myself right now at this age. And it's because of all the battle scars that I sometimes just sit and feel and remind myself of the warrior that I am, right? So, you know, she held that torch up for me. And one day it just popped up like slut magic, like, ooh, you know, like out of nowhere. And I rediscovered myself. And that was the beauty of it. That although I didn't shed tears for the travesties that were placed upon me, my soul cried. And it was with the abandonment issues and you know, the acts of violence, it it was filled with sorrow and grief. So I rediscovered my light, my purpose. I regained my power, and I embraced a badass gladiator guru from within. And that's why I am who I am. So, and I'm a lover of quotes. And this one says, and for all of you out there, it says that you are gonna be happy, said life, but first, I'll make you strong. And that's what it was about. And this is why today I am kind and understanding to my younger self, because she did her best to get me where I am today. And to me, my younger self did a hell of a job. She did all the work. She laid the groundwork for me to build my platform on today. Yeah.
Unlike you, I'm a big crybaby, and I'm like listening to you talk, and I'm going, oh my God, I'm gonna cry. And my sister's watching. My sister knows I'm like a big cry. So you might not have cried all those years, but I cried enough for you. Any little thing, you know. So, but that was just like, I can't even explain to you like how I thought I was in love with you before. Like, I'm even more in love with you now. And Tiffany, for that matter. So you know, when you, so we're, you know, we have just a few minutes left, and I also, and I just like, just make it really short, because I also want you to talk about your book before we go, and, you know, the event that's coming up on Facebook for Sunday night, you know, with regards to the book. But where do you, like, where do you see yourself? You know, you're a spiritual guide, you know, you're a spiritual coach, life coach. Where would you like to see yourself? Like, what avenue, venue to be? Because I think with what you just shared with everybody is something that needs to be heard on a grander scale, because I think you give hope to a lot of people that it's about your choice. It's how you choose to live your life. You take what's happened in your past and you choose to live your life, you know, and you chose it to live it this way, and be in love with yourself right now, and embrace that younger person who did go through all that battle and allowed you to be the person you are now. Like, the younger person made the sacrifice for you to be who you are now.
Yes.
Where would you like to see yourself? What is your vision for your future with your passion and your purpose?
You know, I have several goals that I have for this. I want to have a platform for women of all walks of life. I'm Latina. I'm very proud. I'm Italian. I'm very proud. But I don't see color, and I don't see nationalities, nothing. I see women. I see the power of women. And my message, I would love to have a platform. I would love to be on a syndicated great slot time show and have like a talk show of women, of keeping it real. But then you can't keep it real, right? You got so many rules and regulations. I see Viva Cafe con Leche. My goal is for us to keep encouraging women. I think that's the best platform. And when we go into the podcast of Viva Cafe con Leche, for people who don't have Facebook, they can listen to us, because I think that to gain your power back, you have to take the kid gloves off. There's no sugarcoating shit. There's no, oh, I'm so sorry, or I don't want to offend you, I'm not going to say nothing. No. How I learned to be how I am today is by keeping it real. And you know what? Having that double-edged sword. And you know what? Cutting right through the bullshit. And so for other people, that would be like ripping the Band-Aid off at one time. Just ripping it off and feeling the pain. You know, I pour alcohol on my wounds, and it is the most painful thing. But guess what? After that's done, like not even 5 minutes later, there's no pain. And it's cleansed and disinfected. Why am I going to be babysitting it? No, I don't have time to be an enabler of any kind. I don't have to. If you're sensitive, then you stay over there, because you're going to get your feelings hurt over here. So that platform that we have with Viva Cafe con Leche, I think it is real. I think even for the most modest, you know, mousy woman who won't dare speak her mind, they're going to enjoy that when, you know, when we are, because we are going to expand, because they need to hear it, that it's okay. It's okay. It's okay to tell somebody, back the fuck up. I don't need to hear your shit right now. And
Right.
that's how I got to where I'm at today. And people call me rude or whatever it is they want to call me. Like my brother wrote me a letter about the book that he got and how I'm so raw. And what was the word he used? And help me out because I shared it with you.
I
He
know,
said,
and I can't remember.
oh, here it is, because he said that I am raw to the point of offensiveness and
That's right.
unapologetic, and he loves it. You know why? Because when I tell you, and at the back of my book it says it, I am a lover of truth. So hurt me with the truth. Don't caress me with the lie, because I'm gonna come back angrier.
Mm.
So what's the platform? I see Viva Cafe con Leche being that platform, that huge worldwide platform, letting women know how to get their power back, because we need to get our power back. We need to own the rights to ourselves and as a collective, and fight for each other and protect each other. And that's
Right.
where I see myself. And
Mm.
see, I got passionate right there, and then the hands start to going.
I love it. Are you kidding me? That was freaking awesome.
So I know we're running out of time. So the last question was how, I don't know, but my message is,
You did it. You did it.
but
You're
I
right.
also want to say the most important thing is do the work. Do the work for yourself so that you
That's
can
right.
be that beacon of light, that lighthouse for the others to follow, because that's what we are, of service. Healing is messy and painful. Walk through it. Acknowledge your past traumas. Accept the truth of it all, and never, ever lie to yourself and tell yourself that you got over it. Bullshit. You don't get over it. You get through it. So that means you got to do the work, right? And no one is going to save you. Learn how to become your own superhero.
That's right. That is right.
And to avoid disappointments, expect more from you and less from them.
Yes.
You know, I have a lot more, but that's all.
Beautiful words of wisdom. Well, good. So we have like 2 minutes left. So your book and Sunday.
Okay, so the book is still for sale on Amazon, and also from me. And I have to have a disclaimer for those that are out there, and especially someone wrote something, and I just want to point it out. The first set of books that I was delivered, I didn't read through it because I read the proof, I made the changes, and then I got my big box of books. So there were some errors in there, and other people say they don't care, but because I'm a perfectionist when it comes to my writing. So yeah, so at least you have a classic, you have, like, you know, a rare edition. So Jessica wrote that that's a realization that I've come to with my own mother. And I seen it when you first posted it, Jessica, so I did not. And that's the beauty of it. When you realize that, you can get past it, you can forgive her, because remember, forgiveness takes courage, forgetting takes a lifetime, and to let go of it is just the wisdom you've gained throughout all of the mess, right? You come out with that. So yeah, so, and when you realize that, and today sometimes I have my day to take care of her, but then sometimes I just gotta say she's a 74-year-old with schizophrenia and dementia, and I have to treat her with the utmost care and respect. And then while I'm doing it, I love her because she's my mom. And see how life makes a full circle. So this is the saying: be careful on whose toes you step on today, because it might be attached to the ass you got to kiss tomorrow. But that's, you know, so Sunday at 7:30, mi gente, and Facebook Live, I will be going live with my diamond and my emerald. My son was born in April and my daughter in May, so I call them out by the birthstones of those months. So I have a diamond and an emerald. So my children will be on talking about life with me and the books. So join us 7:30 Sunday, Facebook Live.
On which Facebook channel? Where? Which Facebook channel?
Margarita Chapman Rodriguez de Margarita, whatever, however, because I'm like long-winded with that one too. So yeah, that it should be good. It should be fun. I have a very sarcastic son and a very witty daughter. So it should be interesting to have both of them on with me, and they're probably gonna try and yell at me on the show. So it's gonna be comedic, if anything. So join us there. So yeah, the book is, I'm still doing the autograph copies from here and Amazon. And if you own a book, please go on Amazon and leave a review. That would be so wonderful.
And before we
Yeah.
go, I just wanted to go quick shout outs because we had a bunch of people come on.
Yes, please.
Hi to Andrew. Hi to my cousin Anna. Ephraim, you were on. Thank you so much for coming on.
Efrain.
Andrew was saying Jamaica is here. Darcel is saying wow. My friend Jana was on. Hey Jana. Tiffany, my friend Tiffany was on. Anna says you guys are wonderful. Michelle Houston says thank you both. And yeah, you know what, Margie, like I said, I thought I was in love with you before. I'm even more in love.
And then I honor that.
And I'm very grateful. You're always in my gratitude as well, because I'm grateful to be friends with you and have this beautiful show that we have together on Tuesdays and Thursday mornings. And so 7:30 on Margie's Facebook channel, get a glimpse to see, talk about her book with her kids. And that's going to be really special because her kids are great. And she's great. So thank you again for coming on.
My honor.
Thank you, your insight and your wisdom and your story. It was just so powerful and so necessary for people to hear. And I'm going to ask, please share this, because if you know anybody who's gone through any type of trauma, especially molestation, rape, sexual abuse of any kind, share this, because this is what they need to hear, especially those that are struggling. And I would appreciate it if you share it, because she's a powerful lady and she needs to be heard. So we need to create the platform for her besides Viva Cafe con Leche. So thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in, and everybody have a beautiful weekend. And I will see you guys next Thursday on Mindful Conversations. And Margie, I will talk to you this weekend. So we don't get enough of each other, but I'll see you on your Sunday night show too.
Yes. Namaste, mi gente. And thank you all for coming on. Good night.
Bye, everybody. Be you, be real, and be extraordinary. Take care. Bye-bye.
Breathe in the beauty, breathe out the bullshit.
Yes. Love it.